Good morning, everyone. This is Donna Maloney, and I am Chair of the Charter Club Committee. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda, we do have a quorum that represents Tom Jones, Karen Justice, Judy Thompson, Lyanne Hathaway, and Otto Werner. Those not present and excused, Claudia Burr, Anita McElweak, and Ginny Baker. Next item on the agenda, approval of minutes. I'd like to get approval of, are there any amendments or corrections to the minutes of October 13th? Hearing none, those minutes are approved as written. Riley, COVID update, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to just start out by thanking the club members for their cooperation with wearing masks, cleaning their workstations, and limiting the number of participants within the clubs. As we are expecting a second wave of this virus, we all need to be continuously vigilant as to the way we're taking care of our clubs and cleanliness and spacing amongst people. As far as the coronavirus goes, today we hit a state number of 9.6%, so we're definitely on the rise. Maricopa County is taking the brunt of that with 10.6%, and we're currently in our zip code, we're at 458 documented cases. And when I looked at the numbers in the hospitals, we are steadily approaching what we saw at the end of July. So we are definitely on the upswing, so we have to be real careful with that. One other thing I'd like to mention in regards to that is today I put out some handouts, and we'll be sending this out to the clubs. It's in regards to the pandemic plan that we have. If a case is found within a club, how we will respond to it due to the duration of time before we found out about it. If we find out something right away, we will close down the club, go in, clean, sterilize, and they should be able to open within a few days. And the more how should I say this? The sooner we know about it, the better off we're all going to be. And so it's very important for all the clubs to report any incidences that they do have. And that will be going out today by MailChimp to all the club officers. And last but not least, I'd like to just mention we're going to have a drive-through toy collection, which will be on December 12th, and we're going to be doing that at R.H. Johnson, and that'll be from 9 to 3. And we would ask all the clubs to participate in that. I'm sure it'll bring a lot of joy to the kids that families have been impacted by COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Riley. Next item on the agenda, do we have any club liaison reports? Any committee members have anything to report? Nothing to report. We'll move on to policy C03. And everyone, what we are asking is for consensus on item 1.3.5. The committee chair shall make recommendations to the general manager for capital equipment and projects by December 1 each year. That is a deletion of "and governing board." If everyone say yes? Any nays? All right, that will be moved forward by majority consensus. Next item on the agenda is club membership. And Tom, would you like to report on that, please?
Yes, Anita can't be here, and Anita and I drafted up some wording, some verbiage with Donna that would be applicable to the membership, paid-up membership, and the participation to, and everybody should have a copy. I can just read the additional information, or do we need more background?
Right, no, I think you may go ahead and read what you're being recommended, and then we'll have discussion, and then we can ask for consensus to move it forward.
Okay, thank you. Chapter 2, Section 5, Procedures for Making an Application for a Club Charter B, Step 2. Step 2 is you're submitting an online form. Craft clubs, non-craft clubs require 75 members and craft clubs 50 members. What we're adding is maintaining a club's charter is dependent on club membership, active participation, and longevity of existing club's charter. So that's added. Chapter 1, the prerequisites for a club formation. I think it's it's 1, I'm sorry. Says essentially the same things as the guidelines for the 75 paid-up members for non-craft and 50 for craft. But we've taken out that once a charter has been granted, the active paid-up membership must remain at or above the minimum, which would be 75 or 50. Exchanging that, we're putting in, we would suggest maintaining a club's charter is dependent on club membership, active participation, and longevity of existing club's charter. So we're taking out the minimum, the 75 and the 50. Number 2, it's as long as an existing club maintains, and this is the change, its minimum membership rate, and we've stricken of not less than 80% of the required membership, 60 and 75, but it will continue to retain its charter. Clubs that fall below its minimum, as reported on the annual CR2 membership roster, will be notified, and the recreation manager will assist these clubs in an effort to bring their membership up to minimum level, and that's the same verbiage. But adding, if the club is unable to bring its active membership up to the minimum membership level within 1 year of the written notification, that gives them some lead time, the recreation activities manager will recommend to the general manager the club charter should be withdrawn. And then on 3, we struck out, if the membership continues below the minimum level and just has the verbiage, the general manager may recommend to the governing board that their charter be withdrawn.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, Riley?
I'd just like to say that the CR2 is actually a CR15, so we just need to make that correction.
Thank you. We will make that correction.
Thank you.
CR2 is a CR15.
15, okay.
Thank you. Any other comments? Discussion? Yes, Jim Young, Director Young.
Yeah, I was just wondering, with the COVID situation going on, many of the clubs are having a struggle retaining membership and getting them in, and I just wonder if this is still relevant with all of that's going on, at least at this time.
Could I answer? Donna?
Riley, would you like to respond?
I would, thank you. We are not looking at numbers at this point in regards to club participation and membership. This is something that's going to go into the RRMPs and live in longevity, and this is for further down the road. Right now, we do understand that the people are maybe hesitant to participate within the clubs and/or even want to monitor things of that nature. So we've really just said that we're not going to look at numbers this year until this COVID thing is over.
So you're suggesting that we're making numbers and we're not looking at them? Is that smart?
Well, we are tracking them to see participation at this point in time. That's something we haven't stopped doing, but we're not penalizing the club for inactivity at this point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, I would like to take a vote for consensus to move this forward to the governing board workshop. All those in favor?
Yes.
Any nays? Hearing none, we will move this forward for recommendation to the governing board workshop. Thank you. Moving next, on the item on the agenda. This is 802, club membership participation. And again, Tom, you are up.
Okay, essentially, we've added a sentence that says, maintaining a club's charter is dependent on club's membership, active participation, and longevity of the existing club's charter, which is similar to what was previous. And then and that's in section 1, chapter 2, section 1. Chapter 2, section 3, the benefits of a charter, and this is what has been there has been given priority for facilities, regular use of facilities, and facilities for regular meetings. Essentially, we've added a level, and this may be something we would adjust, but given what it's saying right now, it's giving priority for facility use, providing the club meets a participation rate of 75% of their annual membership. And B, providing the club meets a participation of 75% of their annual membership. Association will assign facility space that meets multiple criteria, including participation, equipment required, and available room accommodations. And then the C, meets participation of 75% of their annual membership and is equal to the previous space, multiple criteria, participation, equipment required, and available room accommodations.
May I have any comments for discussion? Yes, Judy, thank you.
One question, how does this relate to clubs that have joined together, such as the Card Players of Sun City West? You know, we have 4 different entities within that situation, some that are meeting the 75 criteria, some that are not. But our total membership is what is guiding us, you know, to move forward. So say Pan, you know, has only 10 people. Are they going to be by themselves, or are they going to be okay because they're part of the Card Players of Sun City West?
They will be okay because they are part of Card Players of Sun City West.
Okay, okay, cool. And then how did the 75% come about? What
Threw a
was?
coin up in the air and caught it and said, no, I'm sick.
Well, the problem is summer, you know, I mean, there are many of these clubs that fall way below.
And I think it's over the annual, I mean, it's not, it's a full year.
Right, Judy, it is 75% of the annual membership. So you will take that membership for the whole year, and if the participation was 75% of the membership, then you're okay. Yes, Karen?
How does that stack up with the figures you've already seen, that percentage?
Riley?
The majority of clubs do have that high of a participation rate. There are a handful of clubs that do not, and we are working with them to improve their numbers, or we were, I should say, in an attempt to help things pre-COVID, and obviously we will resume that after some resolution is made with COVID.
Any other discussion? Yes, Sue, Director Fitzsimons.
Thank you. How are you determining the 75% participation?
Yes, Riley?
One of the things that we do, most of the clubs, I'll just throw out some examples here, Metal Shop, Wood Shop, they provide us with their member activity. They have scanning systems which allow them to track which individuals are there. Outside of that, our smaller clubs, we are going around and doing head counts, if you will. We know that there's X number of people within a club, and we see the room have, be it 50 to 100 people in it. That gives us our numbers to kind of tabulate how many people are actually utilizing the club. Or we do have some clubs where they might have their 50, and yet we see a daily participation rate of 5 to 6 people. Those are the clubs that we're trying to help.
So there's no accommodation for activities that are off campus?
The ones that are off campus, Sportsman's is a prime example, be it, I'll just throw out the Jeep Club, the Shooting Club. Those numbers really are not impacting the utilization of space within our 4 facilities. So those, we really have a hard time monitoring because they're basically self-monitoring and they give us their numbers. And we take them on their word on that. But then again, it does not really impact the utilization of space.
Okay, but I'm concerned about getting an actual count of participation, because if you look at the variety of clubs, people do participate. I participate in the Weavers Club, even if I don't use a loom for a particular month. But I participate because I produce something at home. I go into the club to, maybe make a purchase of yarn. I produce something for the craft fair or whatever. And so I think there are some unusual situations that would not get counted in your 75% sign-in process. Even with the boomers, we go on hikes, we go horseback riding, we bike ride every Sunday morning, and those things aren't turned in because they're not using the facilities, as you've indicated, yet that's a sign of participation. So I would want to be sure that all of those bases are covered when clubs are doing things that aren't more standard and easy to count.
I'd be happy to look into that, but using boomers as a prime example, when you fill this hall here with 200 people and the courtyard over at Kuntz with 100 people, the participation rate is pretty easy to tabulate. Obviously, there's a lot of activities that happen with the boomers that are in-house, so they're easy to follow. When it comes to sportsmen, be it like the archery club, again, we're not overly concerned about space utilization with them because it's all off campus. So we basically just use the numbers that they report to us as far as participation.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments? Yes, Judy?
I'm going to ask a really basic question. How did we come up with 75 as the magic number for membership? I just was curious how that happened.
The committee, in discussing it, felt that 75% was,
Not percent, just 75 is the, you have to
Oh.
75 in order to even become a charter club.
okay, that will, maybe Dory would like to,
It's been the magic number, if you go all the way back to the books that I have. It's always been 75 members to start a club. Well, back in 1979 and 1980, I don't know why, because it just states that in the books, those are the numbers. That's what that committee came up with. Yes, because of space. If you think about it, we have a lot of spaces where we can't fit more people. So I'm sure that, I know times have changed, but some clubs would not be able to meet that criteria if they had to get more than 75. Well, if you go less, then you're going to have a bunch of little clubs that want space and we cannot supply them with space. I think the rec center is pretty much topped off on space.
this issue, Judy, was brought up at last year's committee, and there was discussion as far as did they think that we needed to address adjusting those numbers, and the committee felt those numbers were fair and reasonable. It was addressed at last year's committee. All righty. Any other discussions? All right, I would like to get a vote to move this forward to the governing board workshop. Tom, Otto, Karen, Judy, Diane. All right, we have majority consensus to move club membership participation forward to the governing board workshop. Next item on the agenda is 701. This is a CR6 form, and if everyone, you should have seen what was being recommended on this form. Due to what we have just approved moving forward on membership and participation, it is being suggested that annual membership and average participation be added to the CR Form 6. Any discussion? All right, if I could have a vote to move forward? Yes, Tom? Otto, yes? Judy, yes? Karen, yes? Leanne, yes. We will move this forward for recommendation to the governing board workshop. Next item on the agenda is capital projects and financial. And Otto, would you like to discuss this, please?
I think we found a lot of clubs have different ideas about what a capital request is. So what we were tasked to do is to look at that and try to make it easier to understand when a club wants to submit a capital request, what needs to be. So we looked at the particular area, background of philosophy. Does everybody have the form? Okay. So we made a change there, but request for interior remodeling for any amount. I'll go ahead and read that and what we added. So the existing verbiage was request for interior remodeling was for any amount. We've added that. Of an existing club quarters must be submitted online to the Office of the Recreation Activities Manager on CR Form 13. And if you remember last time at our last meeting, we reviewed the Form CR 13 and got it approved. So it's a CR 13 and a CR 13A. Then we went ahead and made some changes and added with documentation as stated on CR 13, and will be initially evaluated within 60 days of the chartered club status and given back to, in order to prioritize over new and non-chartered clubs. Safety concerns, repairs, replacement of any kind, or as new capital projects that benefit the community. The club shall substantiate the need of the club and endorsement to proceed with submitting the CR 13 and a CR 13A by providing detailed information on current, improved, maximum utilization of the facility space, such as scheduling use, membership, participation, and health of the club's longevity. If the cost exceeds the $5,000, then a CR 13 remodeling project request over $5,000 shall be submitted along with the CR 13. Request for interior remodeling of existing club quarters, if approved. Club shall bear the cost of the material and labor that's already in there, and all labor will be performed and supervised by the association maintenance department. So that's one of the additions we made on page 36 of the RMPs. And in addition to that, we've added a paragraph, capital projects, and I'll go ahead and read that. New items that are requested by a club, and if the item are for the sole purpose of said club, the club shall assume 100% financial responsibility of that expense. However, if the new item that are requested by a club are shared with another club or the community, when the financial responsibility of the new item shall be determined by the association. For existing items, the association has the responsibility to repair, replace, and maintain the existing items. For new items, the association could assist clubs with financing or contribute to or pay all the cost of the new items if the club facility space is shared. So that's what we came up to with the help of the staff to help clubs better understand what a capital request entails.
Thank you, Otto. It has been brought to my attention that staff would like to recommend removing the last sentence of the RRMP's item C, capital projects, and that sentence to remove, or there's actually two sentences. For existing items, the association has the responsibility to repair, replace, and maintain the existing items. For new items, the association could assist clubs with financing or contribute to or pay all costs for new items if club facility space is shared. So in essence, what we have now under the RRMPs, page 36, 37, as part of paragraph C3, we would like to add under capital projects, new items that are requested by a club, and if the items are for the sole use of said club, the club shall assume 100% financial responsibility of that expense. However, if the new items that are requested by a club are shared with another club or the community, then the financial responsibility of new items shall be determined by the association.
And I don't think Claudia and I will have a problem with that.
Thank you, Otto. I'd like any other comments or discussion about that change to this particular section, paragraph C3, to add paragraph C that I just read. Riley, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I'm actually fine with that statement. I was just going to, on the RRMP's page 36, I would like, where we struck facilities and replaced it with quarters,
Yes.
I'd like to just go back to facilities just for continuity through the RRMPs.
Yes. Okay, let's, I'd like to first move forward with just the capital projects. Any other comments on paragraph C, adding paragraph C on capital projects? All right, let's have a vote. Tom? Yes. Otto? Yes. Judy? Yes. Karen? Yes. Lyanne? Yes. Okay, we will move the RRMP recommendation of page 36 and 37, adding paragraph C to item 3. All right, going back to the RRMP's page 36, section 7, property and equipment, paragraph C, item 3. I will reread that and make the change per Riley's request. Request for interior remodeling for any amount of existing club facilities must be submitted online to the Office of the Recreation Activities Manager on Form CR 13, request for interior remodeling of existing club facilities. And that's at scwclubs.com with documentation as stated on CR 13. It will be initially evaluated within 60 days for charter club status that is given priority over new non-charter clubs. See benefits of a charter, program need, see conditions for granting a charter, urgency, safety concerns, maintenance, repair, replacement of like kind, or as a new capital project that benefits the community. The club shall substantiate the need with club endorsement to proceed to submitting the CR 13 and CR 13A by providing detailed information on current or improved maximum utilization of facility space, such as scheduling use, membership, participation, and health of club's longevity. If the cost for the request exceeds $5,000, then a CR 13A remodeling request over $5,000 shall be submitted along with the CR 13 request for interior remodeling of existing club facilities. If approved, clubs will bear the cost of materials and labor. All labor will be performed or supervised by the association maintenance department. Any discussion? Tom, yes.
And the CR 13, which says quarters, would reflect facilities as
Thank
well.
you, yes. I'm sorry, Lyanne, would you turn your mic on, please? Closer?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
Just for clarity of the minutes, just to make sure I've got this right. So basically, on number 3 here, instead of quarters, we're replacing it throughout the paragraph with
Facilities.
facilities. Okay, I just wanted to
Yes.
make sure I understood this correctly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Any other comments? All right, I'd like to get a vote to move this forward to the governing board workshop. Tom, Otto, Judy, Karen, and Diane. All right, we will move this forward by unanimous consensus. Thank you. All righty, that's the agenda, everyone. I'd like any comments from the committee. Any comments? Katie, do we have any comments? All right, nothing? Yes, Judy.
I think we should thank Katie and their crew for that beautiful Zoom meeting online that people can attend. I think that was just what the doctor ordered in a lot of cases, so thank you.
Yeah, I would love to take credit if that was Tamara and her Explorer program that provided that to the club.
Whatever it was nice.
We let her know.
Thank you. Nothing further. Our next meeting will be December 8th, 9 a.m., Social Hall West. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.